everyone. This is Miss Maureen. And you remember a while ago I came to my friend's house, Miss Lori, and she talked to us about her honeybees? Well, I've got some exciting news. You see that big box behind me that belonged to Miss Charlotte? Well, a new queen thought she was going to move in, and Miss Charlotte was like the Red Queen from Alice in Wonderland. Off with your head. And she made that queen leave. So what this queen did was fly up into some of Lori's trees here behind me and landed on a branch. Lori said it looked like a hurricane of bees out here in her garden, just flying in circles and circles and circles. And you will see that in the video that we're going to have attached to this. So after Lori got her queen up in the tree, they had to let them calm down for a little bit, and they put them into this thing called a capture box. And it's a white box. I'm going to walk over here to it. Nothing but a white box. And when they landed on the limb, Lori said they had to cut the limb off, shake the bees, and put them in this capture box. After all the bees got in the capture box, all the worker bees that followed the queen marched inside this box. And believe it or not, Lori captured a video. So that's going to be attached. And let me show you where they came in at. See that little lever down there? They marched right into this box to get to their new queen. So, remember, Miss Lori only had 4 boxes painted up so pretty, and she had Charlotte and Margaret and Penelope and Eleanor. Remember her bee boxes? Look at the blue one here at the end. There is her new queen. And guess what? She doesn't have a name for her queen yet. So why don't you help Miss Lori out? And in the comments, type a new queen's name. And now remember, it's got to be a queen from the past, so we can help her come up with a new name. And also she told me, you may see this big box of Miss Charlotte? There's about 5 gallons of honey sitting in that bee box right now. Lori's going to extract it in June, so maybe I might get a video of that as well. And also, we've got a story time to go about bees, so come by the library or give us a call at 336-853-4800 and pick up a bag, a story time to go. Y'all have a good weekend and enjoy these amazing videos.
Please, please the bees. Benedict was a creature of habit. He liked to do the same thing every day. Every morning he woke up at the same time. Every morning he stretched, he yawned a great yawn. Every morning the bees delivered 3 jars full of honey. Benedict ate the same breakfast he'd eaten since he was just a fuzzy cub: toast with honey and tea with extra honey. Next came his daily routine: practicing, perfecting his honey cake recipe, knitting, and running errands. At night, he'd read, then have one last cup of honey tea before bed. Life was sweet. Until one morning. One morning, things weren't the same. In fact, something terrible, unsame had happened. On strike. There was no more honey. The bees had gone on strike. Benedict's breakfast wasn't the same without honey. Without his honey tea, he couldn't knit. Practice was dreadful. He didn't even bother with the errands. Benedict became deeply discouraged. Just then he heard someone say, "Hey, you, in that fur coat." It was a very small bee with a remarkably loud voice. "We need to talk," said the bee.
"Talk? Grumbled Benedict. "I let you all live in my yard. All I ask is for a few jars of honey. You should be grateful, not go on strike."
"A few jars," said the bee. "Buddy, we deliver 3 jars of honey to you every day, every month, every year. Do the math, Einstein." "The hive is a wreck. the bee continued. It's all we can do to keep the walls from falling in. The roof leaks. Wind blows through the cracks. The last 3 queens up and quit on us because of the lousy working conditions. The bee showed Benedict the garden. Look, the bee said. Weeds everywhere. We have to fly miles away just to find enough flowers to make our honey, so we voted to strike. You're taking us for granted, the bee declared. You want honey? Things need to change. It's up to you, Bear. And with that, the small bee flew off. The thought of losing his honey sent a chill down Benedict's spine. He had a lot to think about.
Maybe I've been too selfish, Benedict said to himself. I never thought about what bees need, but how I'm going to make this right.
So he did some research. He did a little shopping. And he did a lot of work. Benedict even learned how to harvest honey.
I suppose it's a bit rude to expect them to do it all themselves, he thought.
Finally, he was ready to show the bees all the work he'd done. What would they think? He held his breath as he waited. Then he heard the remarkably loud voice of a very small bee. Drop the signs, girls. Time to get back to work. These days, Benedict is still a creature of habit. He still has his daily routine, but he doesn't take the honey for granted anymore. He knows his life is sweet, but now it's even sweeter. For everyone.